Drama, thrills, spills, dev diaries. Yes, welcome to your midweek Marvel Contest of Champions news show. Let's see what's happening in the crazy world of Marvel Contest of Champions, shall we? As you know, in the crazy world of Marvel Contest of Champions, it's never a dull day. Whether or not Kabam are screwing up the game in certain places or coming up with new ideas, so you're pretty busy with stuff to do. Well, that's just the case that we've got today. It's the Rebirth Part 2. It drops today. So today you're going to be seeing yourself have a 7-hour Rebirth crystal on rotation. You're also going to see a calendar drop either today or it'll be tomorrow. It really does depend on how, because for me in the UK, it's normally about midnight, but of course it's different times, different places, different regions. You all live in different countries. Are you surprised about that? Probably not. There's going to be an arena as well that has solo events that are applicable and work in conjunction with this, and this will be where you can get more of your tokens, the Rebirth tokens, to trade in to get some of the spicy 7-stars from the Rebirth event. And of course there's various of them, amounts of them. There's also going to be some potential revelations, whether or not there's going to be objectives re-rolling, and as well as a mini Crucible to boot. Yes, 'tis going to be quite a busy day, and we'll be doing coverage on this. And hopefully I won't be screwing up any coverage that I do. And what was a very stressful week last week. Now onto a segment that I like to call I got wrongfully banned and had a very good leading story. Now look, I'm not going to Sherlock Holmes or Scooby-Doo this crap, but let's face it, if you've put together a very good alibi right out the gates, no one's going to take you seriously. In most cases, people, of course, do things, share their accounts, and then as a result, are left to wonder, why did I get banned? Well, you could have a very good story leading up. My account is suspended for 1 week, claiming that I have shared my account. Is this because, and here we go, here's the alibi, I use a VPN for internet security, or is it because I used my brother's phone while mine was getting repaired? Because literally no one other than me knows my password. Right. For those really wondered about like VPNs and this whole kind of situation, well, places here, VPN and multiple devices usage are allowable, and many of us have been doing both for years. And of course, yes, there's definitely flags that have been raised in this that makes you go, questionable. And a quick double check, Kabam Pinwell did confirm, double checked, not a wrongful ban. Please remember to follow the TOS. Yeah. Make sure to follow the TOS, everybody. Don't be silly person and do naughty things. Even more so when you share an account with someone that you're giving services, you're purchasing services to, and they go and use a load of cheats. Again, question that. Oh, I've done the Crucible. Oh, thanks for doing that. Here's money transferring services. You did it in you did it in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Yeah, I work fast. Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. That was sarcasm, by the way. Quickly on to thoughts and opinions around the Relic event. This, of course, is not a Realm event. I'm sure a lot of people would have liked it to be a Realm event, and it is not something that I think is hugely palatable amongst people. My top tip when it comes to approaching the event is to do it like this. Use whatever resource you can to do rank ups, okay? And that be your main earner of points for the first 2 to close to 3 weeks. It's a 3-week particular event. Once you have reached that particular stage of going, hang on a minute, I have got to X, Y, or Z, say for whatever reason you get to 1,000 points, let's say, by close to the 2.5 week period, or close to the end, then make a decision to then spend units if you are struggling to get the allotted amount of points. Like, you got to get 1,600. Some alliances want to push for this, some do not. You may even get lucky with the rank in getting some of those Rebirth tokens, but let's face it, in order to get yourself further up the pecking order, you're going to have to be spending a bit of units. But you want to do it on a budget. So don't go fully into it now and go, I'm going to spend a load of units because I know I'm going to get a lot out of it. You may not. So you may have to resort in spending units to get there. It's pretty tough to know what alliances want to do when it comes to investment in it. I feel that by the end of it, I will likely invest not a good chunk of units, the allotted amount of units that will require me or get me to 1,600 points, that is, not 1,600 units. I'm hoping I don't have to spend that much, but I am concerned that that might kind of go down that way. And if all Alliance members do put in 1,600 points each, it gets to 48,000 points, which, for curiosity's sake, for those that kind of care about that, will indeed clear right to the very top of the Relics Reborn points. Yes, you will have to put in 3,000 points, but it theoretically means that those that invested a lot of points via units or money are able to, of course, reap the benefit from it. So it's good for those spenders in the Alliance, but also non-spenders in the Alliance as well. So you kind of get a feel for like both sort of win, but sort of don't, if you get my drift. It's not like the Banquet event, is it? Which, of course, is coming this year. And that's obviously a red flag for you to part with more of your units, because when Kabam release out the next wave of Relic StatCast, you're going to be parting with more units yet again. They just love this game. What are your thoughts around this event? Put it in the comments whether you like it or you don't like it. Cumulative compensation. Let's talk about this. You can see this is a grab from, I think it's Kabam Pinwheel, not sure, a little while ago. Cumulative comp was brought up with the team again yesterday. We don't have any news until we have more. It's gonna look like we forgot about it, but because we don't just want to string you along until we actually promise and deliver something. Basically, no, you didn't get it. Like if we go into game. You go into game, I go into game. I mean, I'll just go in game for this as well. And you kind of look down and kind of go, well, there was some stuff given out, like a correction or like adjustment for some things, but it's just been a very, I would say the word is interesting, but like the adjustment there, and I'm sure there's kind of like Summoner's Fest realm points correction. It's a bit of an embarrassing time in the world of Marvel Contest of Champions. And I think very much from Kabam's perspective as well, with how they've kind of unfortunately found themselves with bugs. I mean, the recent one was this week, or over the course of the last few days, was that Realm Event points issue around revive spending in the Crucible. Yeah, it's not great. Right, it's just not great. These last 2 months, and look, you know, Kabam aren't winning any favors with consistency around these bugs. And I know they'll say like, well, you know, it's give video games, isn't it? All video games have got like bugs, but effectively, it's like, how many regular bugs are we seeing? And I think it just comes at the games, because the game's complexity, front end with all the stuff that we see and we play. Maybe there's some stuff like complexity back end of how that kind of impacts and interacts from, you know, the back end of stuff, like when they're coding in stuff, when they're building stuff, when quests are being put together. Like there must be something there that when they click the button for it to go live, that it's either missing stuff, or because they're putting in too much things or too many things, that something's being missed off across the way. Like there's something there. There's something to look at, and it's been 10 years of this, over 10 years of this. Very much in the last 6 years, we've probably seen it more. Like we've noticed it a lot more. Maybe 7, but you know, the early stages, it was like no one really kind of cared too much of the bugs because this was a fighting game, and then it's an RPG fighting game. So there's so many moving parts and elements to it. But to the point of compensation, just either like, thank you for playing the game. Just a nice gesture. Thank you for playing the game. Here's some stuff, right? Thank you to the player base. Here's some stuff. Whether or not Kabam will give out that stuff, I don't think they will. They've given out the stuff for the Summoners Fest, but do you think they should go a little bit further? There's a good shout that they should do that, but I don't think they will. Do you think Kabam should get out a compensation, or do you think we're barking up the wrong tree? Your thoughts, as always, welcomed in the comments. And we end the MCN on a Wednesday with this topic right here. One thing that I said on the weekend, and something that I think reiterated on Monday, maybe it was, is that if Kabam aren't willing to disclose information about key variables, the extent of how the prestige changes are going to work, they've explained the overview, but not the kind of like application of it. The same thing with the adaptive difficulty and farming units, and how energy refills are going to be not given out to players. The impact and the possibilities of this being good or a bad thing, like, we just don't know the full ins and outs of the details, what is gained and what is lost, right? And this is why people will interpret things differently, because Kabam haven't given the full clarity. I'm no exception to that, but I can only rely on what information Kabam have actually provided the community, which is exactly what you know. So here's the facts, right? People are interpreting stuff around what we think Kabam are doing. But it's a relevant point. All these relevant points, by the way, are what the player base say. Here's a good example. Free-to-play or low-spend players typically have fewer high-ranked champions, obviously. Under this system, their rewards will be worse than high-spend players with larger rosters. Essentially, someone who fought tooth and nail to acquire like 5 or 9 rank 4s, whether free-to-play or low-spender, can basically kick rocks in comparison to someone with like 20 to 30 rank 4s. And that's obviously that is a fact. But the application of it, because Kabam has said they're going to change prestige, what does that mean for alliances? What does it mean for alliances that are extensively competitive and require those particular things? I'm sure that's not going to be for all top-end alliances, but it's definitely something that I'll probably consider, especially if there is a system in place that is important around prestige. And of course, the 30 rank 4s, 20 to 30 rank 4 7 stars, a lot of these players have. Again, clarity being a thing, interpretation. We're asking more questions and not getting any answers. By the time this video goes out, it may be a case there will be answers, but I'm recording this on Tuesday night, just before 10 p.m. UK time, so maybe there'll be more information. Although this post was put out on the 17th and so hasn't got a response, so we'll more answers to questions. But this is a relevant question, isn't it? Players with higher prestige can toggle elder difficulty. But what quantifies that? What quantifies and qualifies for the elder difficulty being triggered? Like, can I do it? Do I have to reach a certain threshold to do that? When do players like lower than me, if I'm okay to get it, like are able to qualify for it? Because I'm sure people want to be ambitious to actually do it, but they want to know like, well, when, how? And another thing, should I? Like, is it then a wasted opportunity to click it on because it will be damaging to my account because I'm not able to do that? So therefore, can I go back to the other difficulty to do? There's also the thing about lower tier farming for units and other resources. Wasn't made clear in that particular post. And the more I read through this thread in particular discussing everything, I mean, just the same things kept appearing. Because people don't know specifics, when Kabam, it's like what I've said in the past about Kabam. Kabam are the epitome of walking into a room, letting off a fart, exiting the room and then not opening a window, then coming back about 10 to 20 minutes later and then going, oh, it smells in here. Let me just open a window, spray some kind of like air freshener. And that's pretty much it. People love that when I say that, but this is a good example of that. But this player asked the same question that we want to all know. Amongst other questions, by the way, I'm interested in knowing, where are those 600-ish units from lower level event quests going? Hopefully not in the same long forgotten MCOC vortex. And I can imagine Kabam will allow you to get those units by all accumulating in one way, or it's going into the daily quest, right? I don't know that 100%, but let's say that that's what will happen. Kabam aren't going to leave out an opportunity for you to get 600 units on a regular basis, because if they do that, there'll be uproar. And Kabam don't want that smoke. They really don't. So I think we're going to have to wait for Kabam to actually kind of like give us a clear answer. Apart from that, I think that's where we're up to at the moment, is the unknowing, needing more clarity. And I think we need a Kabam crashed. Well, we say like a David Ornstein bomber. If you know from the transfer market for football. So we need a Kabam crash bomber to kind of like let us know what the information is on this. Anyway, what are your thoughts surrounding this dev diary? Are you largely waiting for the next live stream, which I don't know, might be on the 20 something, 20 like 9th of August, or are you not trusting anything coming from Kabam? You thinking this is a bit weird? What are your thoughts? Put it in the comments. I'll see you soon. Bye.